And joining me now, former member of Israeli counter-terrorism unit, Aaron Cohen. Good evening, Aaron.
Hi, Judge.
All right, what's your take?
Well, I listened to your last guest. I agree with a lot of what he said. Here's what I think. I don't think there's a difference between a sympathist who's an Islamic radical and an organized terrorist. The goal is the same. Who cares whether or not you're connected to a much broader network? The outcome is the same, whether it's a blade jumping out in the middle of a street, whether it's a car on a bridge that 40,000 people walk, bicycle, and drive over. And so my take is the security needs to get a lot better, a lot quicker.
How do we do that,
I'm going to say it again.
How do we do it?
Well, let's start with the bridge. You know, I'm not a structural engineer, but I'm thinking you can throw some bollards up to be able to divide where the cars pass and where the passengers walk and bicycle. That's number one. Number two, put a couple uniformed officers. There's only 2 choke points on either end, and let's have some armed police presence out there. That'll act as a deterrence, which is one layer. And again, I've been saying this a long time, multi-layers. It means it would take a multi-failure event judge for a terrorist, sympathist, or hardcore organized to reach his objective. Every layer would have to fail. So that's the bridge. 2, the only thing that, this is what we've learned in Israel, and this is my old job. The only thing we learned about radical Islamists, like hardcore terrorists, doesn't matter if it's Hamas, Islamic Jihad, ISIS, it's all the same. The only thing they understand is fear. And right now, they need to be more scared than we are. How do we do that? You can't protect every pipeline. You can't protect every citizen. It's impossible. You can't track 20,000 would-be, jihadists like your last guest just said, because it would take 1 million people to
we don't have the
actively
resources.
put down all that surveillance. There's no resources. But what you can do and what works is you have to exact a very high price to these organizations. And that means you have to put the pressure like we are overseas. And that pressure, I believe, is forcing the terror to come back to London. London is under siege. The only way to deal with a terrorist siege is to respond with terrorism on those sympathists. And what I mean by that is everywhere they're not looking, they're being watched, and they're being grabbed, and they're being arrested, and they're being shaken down, and they're being treated like the gangsters that they are.
All right,
that's
but Aaron, hold
fear.
on a second. Why is London in particular under siege? 3 attacks in less than 10 weeks. Why London?
Well, because London is a absolute has an extremely high Muslim population that sympathizes with ISIS. I believe there's a lot of very average people who sympathize with the creation of the Levant in Syria and Iraq. I think that the Quran, if I'm not mistaken, you can't change the Quran.
But we still don't know. Look, Aaron, with all due respect, and I have to say this, we still don't know who did this. I mean, I can assume, like you, who it probably is, but we don't know for sure. So, but let's assume that there are these people who are sympathizers. What do you do in a civilized society with these individuals against whom you cannot file criminal charges? What do you do?
You have to change the laws so that I can, as the leader of a counter-terror unit, approach you, Judge, and get all of the warrants that I need to be able to begin making entry on any structure that I believe is cooperating, assisting, or aiding and abetting a potential terror attack. And I need to get that warrant before I have anything other than just a little bit of cause. And so I have to, and that's the way that counter-terror works. In Israel, we found that you have to treat every potential possible terror attack as a terror attack, and then start investigating backwards. Traditionally in America and in London, Scotland Yard, FBI, really great at investigating crimes, breaking them up. But with terrorism, you need the intel and the information before.
Exactly.
And you have to go off hunches. You have to go off instincts. You have to go off that endermal reaction, which raises the hair on the back of your head. And then you have to honestly have a look at all of the, like Ariana Grande concert. I'm still going, how is a 30,000 person venue not protected, not looked at as a potential target, and then here we are asking ourselves afterwards, how is there 3 attacks in the last 20 days, 10 days, whatever it's been? The security, like, you cannot approach soft target security with a soft approach. Just because they're soft targets doesn't mean you treat it softly.
All right.
So really good security, mixed with aggressive policy and judges who get this thing so that these counter-terror agents can kick down doors and do what has to be done. Otherwise, at the end, we're going to be here again talking about the same thing with law enforcement reacting.
Aaron Cohen, thank you so much for being with us this evening.